Thank you for watching this video on how to create a disk image using Guymager. A disk image is a compressed file containing the contents of the original disk. Creating a disk image frees data from reliance on its storage media so that it can be preserved without altering the original files. In the BitCurator environment, you can use the Guymager tool to create a raw forensic disk image. Guymager also packages the metadata about the disk contents. We can then use the other tools in the BitCurator environment to gather preservation metadata about the raw data on the disk image. Keep in mind that it takes time to create a disk image, and it depends on your operating system, the amount of available RAM on your computer, the size of the media you are imaging, and whether or not you decide to validate the checksums created by Guymager. If you're imaging a large disk, it may take several hours to create the disk image. Before opening Guymager, make sure that the mount policy is set to read only, indicated by the disk icon in the upper right corner of the screen. Click on it and make sure to set USB mount policy to read only. Any changes made to this policy do not apply to disks that are already mounted. Once it is set to read only, the disk will turn green. Next, create a folder for the disk image. You will refer to this folder and its contents frequently when using BitCurator tools, so make sure to create it somewhere that is easy to find. I'm going to create mine on the desktop, so I'll right-click and select New Folder. I'm going to name it Image 1. Attach the media to the computer. I'm using a USB flash drive for this demonstration. I want to make sure that BitCurator recognizes it, so I'm going to double-click on Home and then look to the menu on the left. Near the bottom, you can see the removable disk icon with an eject button. Next, double-click on the Imaging and Recovery folder on the desktop. And then double-click on the Guymager icon. You may need to enter the admin password. A list of the computer's devices will appear. At the top is the USB flash drive. To start imaging, right-click and then select Acquire Image. At the top of the Acquire Image window are the two types of disk image file formats that Guymager can create. I am using the Expert Witness format. This will create a disk image ending in .E01. The following 5 fields are optional. Under Destination, click the button next to Image Directory and navigate to the folder just created on the desktop. Next, name the image. Note that in the hash calculation verification section, you have the option to select the type of checksum value you would like to have created along with the disk image. This is set to MD5 by default, but you can also choose SHA1 or SHA256. Also note that if you select Verify Image after acquisition, Guymager will validate the checksum after creating the disk image. This can double the length of the overall process. Once you have made your selection, click Start. You can view the disk image progress on the bar to the right. When the disk image is complete, the circle will turn green and the status will change. Open the disk images folder on the desktop. Guymager produced two files. The disk image file ends in .e01 and next to it is the information file. Notice that you cannot open the disk image file. The disk image file is just the raw data from the original disk. It has not been carved, so there are no file systems or file types identified yet. We will use different tools in the BitCurator environment to obtain that information in other videos. Double-click to open the info file. At the top of the file is information about Guymager, including the version and the operating system in BitCurator, Ubuntu. The following section contains information about the USB flash drive from which the disk image was created. Under Acquisition is more metadata about the disk image, including the size of the flash drive that was imaged, just under 16 gigabytes, and the format of the disk image, which we selected as Expert Witness. The paths to both the disk image file and the information file are included here as well. Below the file paths is the type of checksum that we decided to use, MD5, and that we chose to verify the image. The checksum hash is listed here, as well as the verification. If the checksums did not match, there would be a message below. There is also information about the date and time the acquisition started and ended. Even though the flash drive can hold up to 16 gigabytes, there are very few files on it, so it did not take long for Guymager to create the disk image. Lastly is a brief list of what Guymager created: the MD5 checksum hashes and the disk image. Now that the disk image is complete, unmount the USB storage media by clicking on the Unmount or Eject button next to its description. Remove it from the computer. For further guidance on creating a disk image, please consult the BitCurator Quick Start Guide or the BitCurator Wiki. Thanks for watching.